Sometimes in life, there are moments so quiet and simple that the world barely notices them, but for two hearts, they mean everything. Today, I want to talk about one of those moments, the day our wedding date was fixed. Not a day filled with noise or grand celebrations yet, just a moment when two lives quietly promised to walk the same road together. And in that moment, something inside me changed. Love stopped being just a feeling or a dream, it became a direction, a future, a home. When you truly love someone, the idea of forever stops being something distant or frightening. Instead, it becomes something peaceful, something beautiful. The day our wedding date was set, I realized love is not just about the happy days or romantic words. It's about choosing the same person again and again, through every sunrise and every storm. And today I want to share what that moment taught me about love, commitment, and the courage it takes to build a life with someone you truly care about. The day our wedding date was fixed, something inside me became very quiet. Not the kind of silence that feels empty, but the kind of silence that feels empty, but the kind of feels full of meaning. It was a simple moment on the outside, just a date on a calendar, music, just a decision made by two families and two people who cared about each other. But from my heart, it felt like the world had gently paused and said, "This is where your next chapter begins, music." I remember sitting there and realizing that love was no longer just a beautiful feeling floating somewhere in the air between us. It became real. It became something you could hold, something you could walk toward. Before that moment, love felt like a dream that we shared. After that moment, it felt like a road we had chosen together. There's something powerful about a date. A date turns a promise into a destination. It turns hope into a plan. And when I heard our wedding date, I felt something deep in my chest, a mixture of calm and excitement, like standing at the edge of a new life and knowing that you are not standing there alone. Love is often described in big, dramatic ways. People talk about fireworks, about overwhelming emotions, about stories that sound almost magical. But real love, the kind that lasts, is usually quieter than that. It lives in the simple moments, in the way someone listens to you, in the way they stay when things are difficult, in the way they stay when things are difficult, in the way their presence makes the world feel a little safer. And when our wedding date was fixed, I realized that love is not just about how strongly you feel today. It is about the courage to say that tomorrow, and the day after that, and the years after that, and the years after that, you will keep choosing the same person. I looked at the calendar that day, and it felt strange that something so small could carry so much meaning. Just a number, just a day among many others. But that day suddenly became special. It became the day our two paths would officially become one path. And in that moment, I began to understand something about love that I had never fully understood before. Love is not just about finding someone who makes you happy in the present moment. It is about finding someone you are willing to build a future with, someone whose dreams begin to feel connected to your own, someone whose happiness becomes something you naturally care about. When our wedding date was fixed, I felt a sense of responsibility that was not heavy or frightening. It was peaceful. It felt like holding something precious and knowing that you want to protect it. Because love is not fragile in the way people sometimes think. Love can be incredibly strong, but it grows stronger when it is cared for. When it is cared for. When it is crested. When it is respected. When two people decide that what they share is worth protecting. I remember looking at my partner and thinking about all the small moments that had brought us here, the conversations that lasted late into the night, the laughter that appeared out of nowhere, the quiet understanding that sometimes existed even when no words were spoken. All those moments were like small steps leading toward this one day, and suddenly the future felt closer than it ever had before. Not in a way that made me nervous, but in a way that made me grateful, because life can be unpredictable. People come and go, plans change, dreams sometimes shift in ways we never expected, but finding someone who chooses to walk beside you through all of that is something rare. The day our wedding date was fixed, I realized that love is not just about the beautiful moments when everything feels perfect. It is also about the promise to stay during the imperfect ones. It is easy to love someone when life feels easy, when the sun is shining and everything seems to fall into place. But real love is built in the moments when life becomes uncertain, when things do not go according to plan, when patience and kindness become more important than excitement. And standing there thinking about that date, I understood that we were not just planning a celebration. We were making a quiet promise. A promise that we would learn together. A promise that we would grow together. A promise that we would grow together. A promise that when life becomes complicated, we would not immediately walk away from each other. Because choosing someone for life is not about believing that everything will always be perfect. It is about believing that the connection you share is worth working for. The world often moves very fast. People chase success, achievements, recognition, music, and sometimes in that rush, love becomes something that feels temporary, something that people enjoy for a while before moving on to the next chapter. But the day our wedding date was fixed reminded me that love can still be something steady, something patient, something that grows slowly like a tree whose roots become deeper with time. I started imagining the little things, the quiet mornings, the shared meals, the conversations after long days, the simple routines that slowly become the rhythm of two lives living together. Those things may not sound dramatic, but they are the moments that truly build a life. A life is not made from grand events alone. It is made from thousands of small experiences that slowly weave two people closer together. And that realization made my heart feel calm. Because love, at its best, does not feel like chaos. It feels like peace, the kind of peace you feel when you know someone understands you, when you know someone sees your strengths and your weaknesses, and they still choose to stay. Music. The day our wedding date was fixed, I felt that kind of peace. Not because everything in life suddenly became certain, but because I knew we were willing to face uncertainty together. And that is one of the most beautiful things two people can share. Not perfection, not endless excitement, but the quiet courage to say whatever comes next, we will face it side by side. I thought about how many people in the world are still searching for that feeling, searching for someone who feels like home, and I realized how lucky I was to have found someone who made the future feel less frightening and more meaningful. Someone who turned ordinary days into memories. Someone who reminded me that love does not have to be loud to be powerful. Sometimes the strongest love is the one that speaks softly, the one that shows itself through patience, through understanding, through the simple act of being there. Fixing our wedding date did not change who we were, but it changed how I saw the road ahead. It turned love into a commitment. It turned hope into a direction. It turned two separate stories into one shared journey that was waiting to begin. There is a moment in life when love stops feeling like a beautiful idea and starts becoming a decision, a quiet, meaningful decision that grows deeper every day. Choosing one person for life is not something that happens in a single dramatic moment. It grows slowly through understanding, patience, and the realization that the person beside you is someone you want to keep walking with, no matter where the road leads. When people talk about love, they often describe the beginning, the excitement of meeting someone new, the way your heart feels lighter when you see them, the way conversations seem to flow without effort. Those moments are beautiful and they are important. But the real strength of love appears after those moments. It appears when two people begin to understand each other in deeper ways. Choosing one person for life means learning to see them clearly, not just the parts that shine, but the parts that struggle, not just the strengths that make them admirable, but the vulnerabilities that make them human. And when you see those things and still feel your heart moving closer instead of farther away, something powerful begins to grow. Commitment is often misunderstood. Some people think commitment is about restriction, about giving up freedom or losing something. But real commitment feels very different. Real commitment feels like finding a place where you can finally rest your heart. Because when you choose someone, truly choose them, you stop searching, you stop wondering who else might appear around the next corner. Your energy changes direction. Instead of looking outward for something new, you start building something meaningful with the person who is already there. There's a quiet beauty in that kind of decision. It does not need to be announced loudly. It does not need to impress the world. It only needs to be real between two people who understand the value of what they share. Choosing one person for life means accepting that life will not always be easy. There will be moments of joy, but there will also be moments of uncertainty. There will be days when everything feels smooth and then effortless, and there will be days when everything feels smooth and effortless other, and there will be days when patience becomes the most important gift you can offer. But the strength of commitment is not found in perfect days. It is found in the days when things feel complicated and two people still choose to stay. That choice may seem simple from the outside, but inside it carries great meaning. Because staying requires courage. It requires the willingness to listen even when emotions are strong. It requires the humility to admit when you are wrong. It requires the patience to grow together instead of apart. When you choose one person for life, you begin to understand that love is not just something you feel, it is something you practice. You practice kindness in small moments. You practice kindness in small moments. You practice understanding when differences appear. You practice forgiveness when mistakes happen. These quiet practices slowly shape the relationship into something stronger than either person could build alone. Over time, something remarkable begins to happen. The person you chose becomes more than just someone you love. They become someone who knows your story. Music, someone who understands the chapters that shaped you, someone who sees your past, stands beside you in the present, and dreams about the future with you. And that kind of connection cannot be rushed. It grows slowly through shared experiences and quiet moments that most people would never notice. A conversation during a late evening, a comforting word after a difficult day, music, a moment of laughter that appears when neither of you expected it. These small moments may seem ordinary, but they are the air threads that weave two lives together. Choosing one person for life means believing that those threads are worth protecting. It means understanding that relationships are not perfect stories. They are living journeys that change and evolve over time. Music. And just like any journey, they require care, they require attention, they require the willingness to keep moving forward, even when the path becomes uncertain. The quiet strength of commitment is not loud or dramatic. It does not demand attention from the world. Instead, it lives in the everyday choices that two people make. Choosing to speak with respect, choosing to support each other's dreams, choosing to stay patient when life feels overwhelming. These choices may appear small, but over time they create something powerful. They create trust. Trust is one of the most valuable gifts that can exist between two people. It allows hearts to open without fear. It allows honesty to exist without hesitation. It allows two individuals to be themselves without pretending to be someone else. And when trust grows, love becomes deeper than simple attraction. It becomes a partnership where two people stand beside each other not because they have to, but because they genuinely want to. Choosing one person for life also means learning to celebrate each other's growth. People change over time, dreams evolve, perspective shift as life brings new experiences. Commitment does not mean holding someone in the same place forever. Instead, it means supporting their growth while continuing to grow alongside them. It means being proud when they achieve something meaningful. It means encouraging them when doubt appears. Music, it means understanding that the person you chose today will continue to become new versions of themselves as the years pass. And loving someone means being willing to meet those new versions with the same warmth, music, and curiosity you had when you first met. The world often celebrates independence and personal success. Those things are important. But there is another kind of strength that deserves recognition: the strength of two people building a life together, the strength of choosing connection over isolation, the strength of believing that love can remain steady even in a world that moves quickly. Choosing one person for life does not mean losing your individuality. Instead, it means sharing your individuality with someone who values it, with someone who values it. Two people do not become one person in a relationship. They remain themselves while creating something new between them. That shared space becomes a place of understanding, a place where both voices matter, a place where differences can exist without destroying the connection. Because real love does not demand perfection, it simply asks for honesty and effort. Effort is one of the most underrated parts of love. It is easy to feel affection when everything is exciting and new, but effort is what allows love to continue when life becomes ordinary. Effort is choosing to listen even when you are tired. Effort is offering kindness even when stress is present. Effort is remembering that the person beside you deserves the same care and respect today as they did in the beginning. These actions may seem simple, but they carry tremendous meaning. They remind the relationship that it is alive. They remind both hearts that what they share still matters. Choosing one person for life is not about predicting the future perfectly. No one can know exactly what challenges or joys the coming years will bring. But commitment says something powerful. It says that whatever the future holds, we will face it together. That promise creates a sense of stability that is rare and beautiful. It turns love into something that can withstand time. It transforms affection into loyalty. It turns two separate individuals into partners who support each other through every chapter of life. Over the years, the excitement of the beginning may soften into something calmer. But that calmness is not a loss, it is a transformation. It is love becoming deeper, steadier, more meaningful. The kind of love that does not need constant excitement to survive. The kind of love that feels like home. Home is not just a place, home is a feeling. It is the comfort of knowing that someone understands you. It is the comfort of knowing that someone understands you. It is the peace of knowing that you do not have to face life alone. And when two people choose each other every day, through both bright moments and difficult ones, they slowly build that feeling together. Choosing one person for life is not about perfection. It is about presence. It is about showing up for each other again and again, even when life becomes complicated. It is about remembering that love is not just a beautiful emotion. It is a living commitment that grows stronger through patience, honesty, and care, music. And when two people truly understand that, They discover that commitment is not a burden, it is a quiet strength that supports everything they build together.